What is your name?
Clark Rubel.
How long have you been an English teacher?
Since 1999, so about 18 years.
Where'd you get your education?
Years ago, I dropped out of high school my senior year, and then in my 30s, I went back to school. I started at Chaffey College, did a couple of years there, and then transferred to Pitzer College at the Claremont Universities, and then got my master's degree at Chapman University.
Do you see the youth as being prepared for your English class?
Not well prepared for a variety of reasons.
And what reasons might those be?
I think that we have a number of systems and programs and sort of safety nets in place for students, and I think it teaches them to rely on people other than themselves, for one thing. And so they kind of show up waiting to have education bestowed on them instead of being an active participant in their own education.
I see. Do you like teaching English?
Most days. It's got its moments.
What is your favorite book to teach and why?
My probably One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, because it is it's a challenge for the students. I do it at the end of the year. I have seniors, by the way, so I do it at the end of the year, and I think it's a good way to sort of end the 4-year roller coaster of English in high school. It's an amazing book to teach on so many levels. Just the language, the cultural significance of the book, and the fact that it's so relevant at this point. And so most years it's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
What's your favorite book to read and why?
Probably, I'm fortunate in that I teach, because books like One Flew Over the, I still love rereading One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It's a different book every time I read it. I still love teaching The Stranger because it's a slightly different book every time I read it. 1984, Brave New World, those sorts of texts I tend to like. I like books I learn from in terms of literary structure, but also in terms of just depth of ideas, philosophical ideas, and I tend to gravitate towards philosophical novels. So.
Interesting. What is your name?
My name is Michael Flax. I'm an English teacher at Altaloma High School.
How long have you been an English teacher?
I've been an English teacher for 15 years now. I was a substitute teacher for a few years before that, so I've been in education about 17, maybe 18 years, primarily in English. That was my degree in college, and I have a master's in English, and I also have a master's in education.
That's cool. I'm sorry. Do you like teaching English?
It's fun. I think there's a lot of variety just in the job. You don't always have to do the same thing. You can be spontaneous some days, but you also get the joy of literature and helping people try to understand what they read better, while also maybe writing better, communicating better. So I think that's fun.
Do you see the youth as being prepared for your English class?
I think most kids are. I try to make modifications or step back if I feel like maybe kids don't understand something or need a bit of a refresher, just to help. But I think most kids are. I think the curriculum changes. Maybe we don't read as much as we used to, but then we're better with technology than they were in the past. So, there have definitely been some changes. But most kids, I think, are pretty prepared. There's still a lot of really high flyers, great achievers, kids who read and write very well. So I'm sure statistically it's probably comparable to what it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It's probably not that much different.
What improvements do you think could be made in the education system?
I think we could read a little bit more than we do. Maybe, I know we don't have as much fiction as we had in the past. There's a lot more nonfiction. And but you know, I would think maybe if we brought back a few more of the works of literature, you know, and that's a balance too, because sometimes the kids don't always want to read those, or maybe they're a bit boring, or it's hard to sell some student who already has 4 hours of homework, you know, hey, you need to read for an hour from a book that was written 100 years ago. So I think maybe finding relevant titles, things that are going to be interesting while relevant, and also you know, have that great literary value. That's important.
What's your favorite book to teach and why?
I think my favorite book to teach, it would probably be a tie between Of Mice and Men and then maybe The Old Man and the Sea. I feel like both books, they're simple, they're very short, but the story in both, it's strong, it's compelling. There's also a great deal of you know, illusion, other devices, just some strong prose, but also, you know, it's memorable. There's great themes in both, so I think, you know, I would have to choose those two. They're things that are going to hold the students' interest and have a great lesson for them as well.
Okay. What is your favorite book to read and why?
Lately, you know, I was a big Stephen King fan. You know, something like Salem's Lot, or Cormac McCarthy, you know, Blood Meridian. I think those are my favorite books. But I also like some nonfiction, like financial type books too. I just find it interesting. Like Benjamin Graham's The Intelligent Investor is an interesting book, which,
That's a good one.
you know, it is. I mean, some people might find it boring, but it's just it's different. But it you know, for numbers, for investing, for business, it has a lot of very sound advice, I think so.
Cool. All right, well, thank you.
All right, my pleasure.